Hi, I'm Eddie Obeng, and this is how I bring you a different people engagement tool every single day. There are hundreds of them. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. If not, look at the Spotify channel and make sure you subscribe to the LinkedIn newsletter. Today, I have one of the hardest tasks which you might be forced into doing, which is leading effectively. So let's jump on Cube, and I'm going to share with you Naked Leadership. This is the workshop generator cubicle, and here we have a pet called Interact, and this is how we start thinking about how people should work together when they're virtual. You know, if they're conversing, there are certain things which seem to work well: gathering people in circles, sending them to cafe tables, and so on and so forth. If they're doing stuff, then we want them on boards or hopes and fears board or desks and so on. We are going to go to one of the whiteboards, which is just over here, and we're going to have a look at Naked Leadership, which of course comes from my book, The Complete Leader. If you haven't read it, read it. If you have read it, read it again. Okay, so here we go. So what's it about? What I try to do in The Complete Leader is I try and strip down leadership to its minimum, bare essentials, hence Naked Leadership. So the idea is that there are two parties involved. The first is there is the follower, and the followers are actually far more important than the leader. So this is the follower over here. And the follower is basically like a receiving station. So I'm going to pretend they've got like a radio. Okay, so an old-fashioned radio with knobs. And do you remember when radios had, no, you're probably too young to know, they had antennae. Okay, so this is your follower, and the follower is trying to follow. They're trying to receive the message from who? They're trying to receive the message from the leader. Now, the leader is sitting up here on the top of this tower, okay, which is actually a transmitter. So this is the leader, and they're going blue, 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 and they're sending out messages to the radio. And so basically what you're doing is the leader has to do stuff, the follower receives what they want, and then they act. But in between, sometimes, if, for example, it's raining, some of the signal gets cut off. So you might need to change frequencies or do something slightly different. And that's what I try and explain in Naked Leadership. There are three bits. There's the bit which is, what does the leader do? What do they have to do in order to make it work? The second bit is, what does the follower want, or what does the follower want to receive? And then the third bit in the middle is, what's the situation? And Naked Leadership is just a 3x3, not the most beautiful 3x3, just to bring it all together to remind people. So the leader brings thoughts, behavior, emotions, actions. I've written it in that sequence because I didn't want you to spot what it actually spells, which is B-E-A-T. The leader brings the beat. So if you remember, the leader brings the beat, then you have to think about, well, what am I doing in terms of the ideas? What am I doing in terms of my behavior, and so on? The followers, on the other hand, they want to experience direction, motivation, being part of something bigger than themselves, being excited about the future, or to grow and learn. So this is what the followers want. If you're not getting this through to them, they won't respond. So you have to think about which beat you need to get the right response. And then the situation demands. So if the situation is very clear, then you have to start acting as if you're somebody who knows what's going on, an adapter, more like a paint by numbers. Look it up, there's a pet. Or maybe it's really unclear, very foggy, in which case you have to make stuff up as you go along. So you have to be more of an innovator. So those three things connect, and that's what Naked Leadership is about. A lot of the time when you read about leadership, they'll talk about the leader's behavior, leader's actions. They forget what the follower wants, and they forget that the situation also changes what's required. You need to do all three. So I've been Eddie Obeng. Go and do it now. Go and lead some people effectively. Thank you.